Yes. Good evening. Welcome to BBC One. My name is Zachary Gladstone, and today we will be talking about a subject that not many do not know about. 9/11. Many see it as a day of tragedy, many a day of woe, but all a day where things change. We want to talk about something specific today, though, and what that is airport security. As ever since the drastic changes of 9/11 and Osama bin Laden's plot to attack America, the world has seen a drastic shift in security management all around. Some of these topics are quite controversial, some might say. Some topics everyone welcomes. However, today we are going over the topics that need to be heard and that you specifically need to hear. So join us and enjoy.
Americans have been affected in the post-9/11 world, the nation's commercial airports. Passengers have been walking through metal detectors and had their carry-on bags x-rayed since the late 60s. But aviation security changed dramatically after September 2001. Prior to the attacks, passenger screening was done by private companies who were supervised by the Federal Aviation Administration. After 9/11, the government created the Transportation Security Administration, which was the largest single federal startup since World War II. Terry Crosby went to work for the TSA almost from the beginning. He signed up 8 years ago because the attacks made him want to serve his country. He rotates through several different jobs during his shift, from running the X-ray machine for carry-on baggage
decided to leave his liquids in there,
to hand searching for suspect items, to physically searching passengers.
Yeah, all right, I'm gonna go inside your collar here. All righty.
It's not his favorite job, but a job he says needs to be done.
A lot of Americans don't feel that they should be patted down. It's not necessary to be patted down. But when you have things come in that don't belong, or try to take things on the plane that don't belong, then it is necessary.
Some Americans believe those enhanced pat-downs, which started within the last year, violate their constitutional rights. They're just one part of a raging debate over how far the TSA should be allowed to go. Since 9/11, security procedures have steadily escalated after a series of failed terrorist attacks. After 2001, passengers had to walk through security in their stocking feet after Richard Reed tried to detonate explosives hidden in his shoes. In 2006, people started having to carry liquids in small containers inside a plastic bag after a plot to detonate liquid explosives was uncovered. And when Umar Abdul Muttalib tried to set off plastic explosives hidden in his underwear in 2009, the government spent hundreds of millions of dollars to speed up deployment of advanced imaging technology machines that can peer beneath clothing. Some accuse the agency of simply going too far.
Welcome back. And once again, I'm here with Mr. Mann from the TSA to talk more about airport security and the important things that you need to know as a person and civilian. So, Mr. Mann, tell us about this program called the TSA PreCheck. Like, what exactly is it?
Well, TSA Pre is basically a service for frequent flyers who want to get the screening process done in airports faster. It enhances airport security by pre-screening individuals who volunteer for this program. It's a slow process to get all airlines and airports on board, but eventually it will be at every airport.
Well, this is a pretty good plan by the sounds of it, and also from what you're saying, it sounds like the TSA is really planning on expanding upon this program in the near future. Would you say this is correct?
Yes, we are always looking for new ways to expand our programs and improve them. We have recently partnered up with the U.S. Customs and Border Protection to help us with this project.
Very nice. So, is there any way a civilian or anyone else might, I guess you could say, not be eligible for this program or be excluded from it?
There are a few ways someone wouldn't be allowed to apply for this program. First, if they have a criminal record at all, and if they're newly immigrated from a foreign country, they have to be a U.S. citizen for at least a year, or if they just don't have the proper U.S. papers.
So, how would you say someone who is eligible actually signs up for this program and becomes enrolled in it?
Well, first you have to be a frequent flyer to have the opportunity to apply to this program through your airline. The airline submits an application that you fill out, and then we see if that person meets the standards for our program. It is initiatives like these that we want to see more of in every airport.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Mann. This has been a very informative discussion that we've been having, and once again, thank you for coming out. So, your insight on how TSA performs around the country so far seemed to be fairly valuable, and I think you have in fact helped many of our viewers learn more about what they should need to know in this day and age. Thank you.
Hey, sorry.
Doesn't penetrate the skin to identify any kind of threat that might be concealed. TSA officials will no longer see an X-ray image of your body.
It actually takes electromagnetic waves that are bounced off the body to determine whether something may be concealed underneath the clothing.
A TSA worker demonstrates the latest TSA scanner.
The amount of energy that's involved is 1/10,000th that which is permitted for a cell phone transmission.
Lower power, no X-rays, but this new advanced imaging technology can spot something the X-ray machines couldn't.
But we know the greatest threat to aviation security is the improvised explosive device that could well consist of non-metallic components. So imaging technology for us provides the best edge possible to be able to detect such threats.
Feet on the indicators, arms up like so.
John Allen says the passenger can turn around and see the same screen security officers watch. Instead of an intimate X-ray view of your entire body, you see a generic outline. Watches, cell phones, wallets, even a plastic comb pop up just as a yellow warning label. The TSA says the simplicity of this machine should speed up the security check process.
Anything that warns less radiation to me and less radiation to the public is a good thing.
Passengers at GSP say they're ready for a less invasive checkpoint.
It's going to definitely speed things up and probably reduce the amount of time that you're processing through.
The new scanners are in use at 190 airports and will soon be used for all passengers here at GSP. But Asheville Regional passengers will have to wait for the new machines.
I just had metal plates put in, and I'm afraid that they're going to go off every time.
Asheville Regional passengers must pass through metal detectors, which can cause delays for patients with surgical implants. The new machines would free Geraldine Frankfurt from worry because implants are no longer an issue.
I know they want to be safe, and I understand the terrorism thing, but there's quite a few of us that have metal in us.
TSA officials say that they are not allowed to say when Asheville will receive one or more of the new machines. Reporting live at the Asheville Regional Airport, I'm Cheryl Barber, News 13.
Hello, tonight we will be taking a look at the airport security protocols and various steps that the airport security staff takes to ensure everyone's safety. During tonight's show, we will also be looking at the items that the securities can confiscate during those different checks. Accompanying me tonight is Mrs. Smith, Airport Security Manager here at Pearson International Airport.
Hello, thanks for having me on your show and allowing me to explain certain protocols and procedures we take as security at the Pearson International Airport.
Mrs. Smith, can you explain to our viewers how some of the airport security protocols have changed since 9/11 and just general things that you guys do to help us ensure our security at these airports?
Well, in the last 11 years, a lot of changes have happened. Upgrades in airports all around the world have been made. Upgrades such as new body scanners that actually scan a person's full body. Also, now 100% of bags will be checked compared to back before 9/11 when 10% were checked. No liquids above 3.4 ounces will be allowed on your carry-ons anymore. Passengers can no longer lose their bags in random countries because in order for bags to be checked onto a plane, the passenger owning the bag has to be confirmed to be aboard the plane.
What would you say is the largest upgrade in airport security?
The largest upgrade in airport security would have to be the increase in the workforce. We've added about 50,000 new employees, These employees' positions vary from security staff, just basic people doing the security checks, air marshals, and new TSA agents.
Can you explain to us some of the basic roles that these security officers go through?
Some of the jobs airport security take part in during the security screening process. They manage x-ray bins, different scanners in the airport, participate in the actual physical body searches, hand swabs to check for explosives, carry-on checks, and during the security screening is when the staff would confiscate any items considered to be contraband.
Well, do you have any examples of anything that you can show us that would be considered contraband, maybe something that was taken away from a potential passenger?
This knife. Obviously, it is a hazard to other guests on our plane, and security will confiscate this, along with this X-Acto knife. It is also not allowed to be on a bag on a plane. Some foods like fruits and vegetables cannot come into other countries internationally because there's potential risk of health because of the diseases that could be on foods, also insects that travel on food. Another thing is the average person brings on, say a lady like me would bring makeup. This, not allowed on a plane. This jelly hair product, too large to come on a plane, like as we said before, 3.4 ounces. Way larger than 3.4 ounces. As an alternative, you could bring this 3-ounce bottle and pour some product in here. If you're going on a sunny vacation and want aloe vera, also put it in this small bottle. And then there's another thing that average person wouldn't consider to be an issue. Tweezers, we will confiscate them. Eyelash curlers, they will be confiscated, among other things.
Although more cramped with fewer freebies, the overall sound and look has remained the same. But getting on board is certainly nothing like it was a decade ago.
We used to go down on people's layovers for 2 hours and hang out with them when they were switching planes.
Security is the biggest change.
It is a pain in the neck to travel, but you kind of put that behind the back burner when you realize the people who've lost their lives that day.
Also, think about the cockpit. Remember the door being open with children in flight getting a peek inside. Now it's locked with, at times, a flight attendant standing guard. Not to mention the guy sitting next to you may be an undercover cop.
We didn't have thousands of federal air marshals that we do today. We didn't have pilots with guns in the cockpit as we do today.
Nico Melendez is a TSA spokesperson. A decade ago, his employer didn't even exist.
And in that first year of TSA, when we had to hire 55,000 people and put technology in 450 airports, from Maine to Saipan, and we did it. That's amazing.
He admits it's interesting to think what once was, but now it's a must.
They caught us by surprise. And now we're doing everything we can to protect ourselves from any possible threat.
I've lost loved ones in the building, so it's just a whole different world that we have right now.
It's a reminder every time he travels.
Every time I have to take my shoes off. Absolutely.
And maybe for you as well, and how our lives have changed since we were attacked. Christopher Sine, ABC 15 News.
A constant argument in today's political world is the simplified idea of the sacrifice of freedom for security. One could constantly argue that every step towards a safer life requires a loss of your own rights, but in this case, I feel the obvious conclusion on the subject is that the TSA are in fact here for our own good, and that the changes they make are for the greater good of everybody. After all, what is an extra few seconds for you to take off your shoes for the comforting assurance that there are in fact no shoe bombs on the plane whatsoever? The world has become a more dangerous place, and we must react accordingly.